The Bible mentions only two people who entered heaven without dying, and Elijah. Most of you have heard of the prophet Elijah. This famous prophet was taken up to heaven in a glorious manner after his earthly ministry was completed. But what about Enoch? Most of us don't know much about Enoch, the other person to be taken directly to heaven. Today we're going to touch on the Book of Enoch, discovered in the 20th century, the Dead Sea Scrolls, and the controversies it has sparked in the religious world. The Book of Enoch, part of the Dead Sea Scrolls, is the oldest known apocalyptic text in history. The Book of Enoch contains unique material on the origins of giants, why some angels were cast out of heaven, intriguing explanations for why the Great Flood was necessary, and much more. Although the ancient work concerns a biblical figure mentioned in both the Old and New Testaments, it was never included in the Holy Scriptures of Christianity and Judaism. So why? What information contained in the Book of Enoch was banned in synagogues and churches? Let's learn the answers to these questions together. Forbidden Scriptures. The Dead Sea Scrolls are ancient manuscripts discovered between 1947 and 1956 in various caves near Qumran on the northwestern shore of the Dead Sea. Most of the scrolls are written in Hebrew, Aramaic, and Greek. Most scholars believe that the parchments constituted the library of the sect that lived in Qumran. The Dead Sea Scrolls are of great historical, religious, and linguistic significance, but they are considered a keystone in the history of archaeology. Because they are the oldest manuscripts included in the biblical canon, they also include extra-biblical writings. Among the extra-biblical manuscripts are works previously known only through translations or not at all. Sectarian manuscripts are divided into a wide range of topics, such as biblical commentaries, religious legal writings, texts related to religious ceremonies, and apocalyptic information. It also sheds new light on the question of how Christianity and Rabbinic Judaism emerged. The ancient parchments found in various caves consist generally of texts with religious content. However, one of the pieces of this vast archaeological treasure stands out as the Ethiopian Book of Enoch. The most important feature of the work is that it is the oldest apocalyptic writing known in history. Experts have concluded that the Book of Enoch was prepared in the 3rd century BC. To make it clearer in our minds, if we were to make a comparison, the Book of Revelation, the last book of the New Testament, dates back to 95 AD. The main reason why Enoch's story as a whole is referred to as the Ethiopian book is that the entire work is written in the ancient Ethiopian language. This means that the Book of Enoch is an integral part of the Ethiopian Church, which is diametrically opposed to other Jewish and Christian communities in the world. Is the reason why the book is not officially included in religious principles anywhere else only related to religion? Or is there some information that could shake our general worldview? Let's take a closer look. Enoch. To find out who Enoch was and which of the things that happened were worth going down in history, we must first take a look at today's Bible. It should be noted that information about Enoch is quite scarce in the holy texts of Christianity. The Old Testament mentions Enoch in only a short text. The relevant passage, found in the book of Genesis, says that he was the son of Jared. Jared is also a descendant of Seth, the third son of Adam and Eve. Considering his 365-year lifespan, it is clear that Enoch was significantly different from normal people. On the other hand, we can say that this unusually long life is nothing compared to the age reached by Enoch's children. For example, his son Methuselah is said to have lived 969 years. The New Testament takes Enoch's story a little further. The Epistle of Barnabas emphasizes that Enoch was loved by God and called to his side because of his devotion. In other words, this means that Enoch was allowed to ascend to the kingdom of heaven without dying. This is also where the official explanation of the Bible ends. To learn more about the background of this exciting figure and to find out what supernatural experiences Enoch went through, we need to take a look at the Book of Enoch. Enoch's ascension to heaven. As mentioned earlier, Enoch was brought to heaven by God while he was still alive. However, the Bible does not provide any information on exactly how this ascension to the kingdom of heaven took place. The Book of Enoch is much more informative on this subject. It is said that ancient, divine, and celestial mysteries were shown to Enoch during his ascension to heaven. The expulsion of the angels from heaven is also described in detail. If we take a closer look at the article titled The Book of Watchers to understand this, the angel Semyaza, along with some of these supernatural beings, decides to invade the world. The aim of the angels is to subjugate human women and have children from them. Giants emerge from this mixture of earthly and celestial beings. The giants enrage God by plunging the world into chaos. Thus, the angels in question are expelled from heaven. That's not all. Servants who fall from both sight and heaven are thrown into a burning lake. God also decides to send a massive flood to wipe the giants off the face of the earth. The fallen angels, facing their fate, beg for mercy, but it is too late. This is where Enoch comes in. His mission is to convey God's final decision to the fallen angels. After Enoch delivers the news, he is taken by two angels and taken to heaven. During his ascension, he also gets the chance to see the divine realm. Divine realm. The term divine realm can be a bit misleading as it has different meanings in different religions and cultures. In fact, according to some sects and denominations, heaven is said to have 7 different layers, each containing different inhabitants. This idea also appears in the book of Enoch. On the other hand, no other text in the Jewish Bible says that heaven has 7 layers. All other books of the Old and New Testament speak of a single heaven. According to the concept of 7-layered heaven, the heaven on the first floor consists of clouds and stars. Enoch also sees an ocean above the firmament here. The great flood will occur with water from this ocean. On the second floor, the rebellious angels await their fate. The third layer is home to the heaven often mentioned in the Bible. This is where the souls of people like prophets and pious people reach, and also where Adam and Eve lived. However, north of the third heaven is hell, where sinners are punished. This is prepared for the godless and sinners. After passing the sun, the moon, the holy guardians, and the angelic choirs, the 7th layer comes, the highest and most sublime point of heaven. This is where God's throne is, and only a few archangels are allowed to sit next to the Lord of the worlds. Around the throne are cherubim, whom we know as baby angels. They are tasked with carrying God's throne on their wings and taking their Creator wherever He commands. The celestial beings here represent the forces and principalities that govern the workings of the universe. These are the forces that shape human destiny. Ultimately, Enoch sees God, but unfortunately, the work is quite stingy in describing God. All that is written is that God's face looked very powerful and terrifying. It's not entirely clear what the author means by powerful, but you get the general impression. The face of God evokes awe and fear. The scene is described as if all the actors of heaven were waiting for this moment. While in the Book of Watchers, Enoch appears to be somehow interfering with a scene never intended for mortal eyes. Here it seems as if everything is waiting for Enoch's arrival. Without him, everything is incomplete. Finally, God calls Enoch before him and tells Michael to take Enoch and strip him of his earthly garments and clothe him with holy garments. His earthly garments refer to his human nature. Enoch, on the other hand, is on his way to becoming an angel, whose clothes have changed, is tasked with writing down everything the Creator wants from him. In addition to the secrets of heaven and earth, this also includes the creation myth. Enoch writes exactly 360 books in just 30 days, and equipped with these writings, he is sent back to earth. The books are then given to Enoch's sons. He tells his children to renounce all sins and also warns them against the flood that God will send to destroy the wild giants. This information helps Enoch's grandson Noah prepare for the devastating flood and build his ark. After fulfilling the duties given to him, Enoch is fully accepted into heaven. Considering all this, it is becoming clear why the book of Enoch was excluded from the Bible. We know that the Bible was carefully compiled many years ago by experts who decided which books were scripture and which were not. The church had to do something to ward off those who wanted to lead Christians astray. After all, Enoch's story was becoming more and more widespread, and more people were learning Christianity in a way it shouldn't be. Around 382, the Bible was scanned, and the scriptures that could eventually be included in the Bible were selected. It was decided that books like Enoch should also be removed because they were not compatible with other scriptures and religious principles. In fact, some books, including an apocryphal book called The Wisdom of Solomon, were not at all compatible with each other. This caused some people to think that the Bible was not trustworthy. After all, if the Bible was edited by humans, who could prove that important texts of the Bible were not also removed? According to experts, all the remaining books of the Bible overlap perfectly with each other and do not contain any contradictions except for some mistranslations. The books that were not included in the Bible, on the other hand, contradict each other in every respect and do not coincide with the other 66 books that have been proven to be true. That's why a total of 15 books were removed from the Bible. So what did this mean for the Book of Enoch? Simply put, the book appears to be a product of fraud. Its story does not match the other 66 books, and no ancient translation of the text has been found. This suggests that the book may have been written in much more modern times. The discovery of Aramaic parts of the book suggests that ancient Jews and some Christians were aware of the book. However, we have no evidence that the book was studied or validated by first-century Christians, as were most of the other books of the Bible. And ancient astronauts. There are many theories as to why the Book of Enoch was excluded from the Bible. When viewed from a historical context, it is clear that the Book of Enoch does not belong to Christianity, as the book does not generally reflect what is shared in the Bible. But there's a much weirder theory floating around in recent years. Apparently, some people believe that the book was removed from the Bible because it was part of a global conspiracy. This conspiracy was discussed and agreed upon among every church in the world, and it was decided to remove the Book of Enoch. According to this theory, the Book of Enoch is actually a story of abduction by mysterious aliens rather than a text consisting of religious events. According to the proponents of the theory, Enoch's secret writings confirmed theories about ancient alien visits. Ancient astronaut stories are based on the belief that the ancients were regularly visited by extraterrestrial beings. So how did God, angels cast out of heaven, and bloodthirsty giants fit in with the views of this theory? This was because ancient astronauts interpreted the events recorded in the Book of Enoch a little differently. For example, the creatures that descended to Earth and had children from human women were not God's servants in the Bible, but aliens. Also, the figure referred to as God was not actually the holy creator, but the leader of extraterrestrial species. Enoch's ascension to heaven was more like a classic alien abduction than an ascension to heaven. And what he saw during his journey was either the spaceship of extraterrestrial beings or their home planet. Therefore, the flood created by God could have been caused by the firing of an extremely advanced extraterrestrial weapon. Placing the events described in the Book of Enoch in such a cosmic context seems very difficult at first glance. In fact, the text also contains a passage that touches on this area to some extent. Although the so-called astronomical book does not mention aliens and spaceships, it gives us an idea of how our world and interplanetary neighborhood are structured. Even according to these texts, the Earth is not a spherical celestial body, but a flat disk. Accordingly, the Earth does not revolve around the Sun, but rather the Sun revolves around the Earth. Anyone who truly believes in the ancient astronaut context of Enoch's story will sooner or later encounter a fundamental question. Why haven't aliens visited us since those times? After all, they had clearly shown themselves to humans in the past, so that the inhabitants of the world would recognize them as gods and worship them. Proponents of the theory believe that some extraterrestrial beings disobeyed the orders of their masters, communicated with humans, reproduced with them, and shared information. However, since these beings are constantly watching us, they believe that their next visit is near. From the point our species has reached in evolution, aliens may think that we humans are in danger of destroying ourselves. After all, with the development of the atomic bomb and other nuclear weapons, we have now reached a dangerous age. Therefore, the currently invisible observers will descend on our planet sooner rather than later, and put us back on the right track. Now that we've talked about the stories, myths, and theories about Enoch, it's time for your ideas. Could there be another reason why the Book of Enoch was not included in the scriptures? What is the probability that the alien theory put forward is correct? You can share your thoughts on the subject in the comments. See you in the next videos.